everyone, welcome back to another episode of Rebel Rewind. My name's Christopher. With me as always is Eric from Sire Speed Reviews. How's it going, Eric?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Chris? How you been?
Cold up here. Yeah, like minus 40 today. So what is that? That's like, I don't know. I don't even know the conversion for Celsius to Fahrenheit.
Yeah,
but it's cold.
We're supposed to get some kind of cold front coming in tonight. So
yeah,
you can tell.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna do the calculation here, the conversion. So minus 40 Celsius is
like negative 20 here.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, what's it saying? No, that's not right. Let's see. Minus 40. No, I guess Fahrenheit doesn't go that low.
Wow. That's crazy, man. Yeah, I'm sure it's probably right at negative.
Yeah, because I'm going like minus 30 is negative 22 there, and minus 40 it's just saying minus 40 Fahrenheit. So I think it's maybe too cold to register for Fahrenheit. So
just up your phone,
right?
Cannot compute.
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly what one said. Yeah. Minus 40 is minus 40. Star Wars Nerd says hello. Hello there. Hey, Star Wars Nerd. Thanks for hopping in the chat again. Appreciate you in the chat. Yeah, so we got some pretty cool news to talk about, I think. Some Mara Jade potential news, some Book of Boba Fett news, and then later we'll kind of chat about what we think makes a good Star Wars villain, because with the rumor of Henry Cavill possibly playing a villainous role in the upcoming Star Wars the Rey trilogy, there. I mean, you got to think he's playing. I don't know. In my opinion, I think he's playing the Sith. Like all the big bads have been Sith or dark side users, right? So we'll chat about that later. But we do have a special guest this evening. Someone you might have seen. You've seen on my channel for sure. I think, has he been a guest on your channel, Eric?
I haven't had many guests, and it's been a while since I had any guests. So if
so
not,
it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah, you're probably familiar with him if you watched some of my previous stuff. Got Patrick here from Poptography. Say hi, Patrick. Let everyone know where you're from, what you're all about.
My name is Patrick. I'm with Poptography, and often you've seen me on with Christopher and Lex on the Star Wars podcast, and many times on each other's shows, because I have been on Eric's and as well as a bunch of yours, Chris. So, great to be here.
Looking forward to chatting some news and rumors with you.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think it's interesting. We'll talk a little bit more about, like I said, the what makes a good Star Wars villain, but like who's your favorite Star Wars villain, Patrick?
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, for me, I love Vader. I mean, Vader is
Vader's iconic.
He's the epitome, right? Like, you just see the silhouette and you know who it is. So, like,
yeah,
it has to be that. But I mean, I do like Maul, and there's other ones, but I think seeing what makes Vader such a good villain is you see his fall, and before you saw his fall, you just knew he was a villain. Just right. That's how they built the character and all that. But then when you get the prequels and you see that fall, I think that's going to lead further into your discussion later as to what makes a better villain, because I think that's really, it draws you in more when you see his fall, because not many of us would have probably made a different choice. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, but he's one of my favorites, and there's plenty of really, really good ones, like, Palpatine, start there, Maul. There's so many good villains out there.
There's a lot.
And it'd be nice to get introduced to some really cool new ones. So, we'll see what happens. I like to see Henry come over to the Star Wars universe as something, but I would also wouldn't mind if he was something different. Maybe he is more. Maybe he is more than just a Sith. Maybe he has powers, but maybe he's from somewhere else, and we're getting a new race and a new, invasion of something, a bigger threat that might pull the remnants of what might be the First Order and the resistance together to fight a bigger threat and common enemy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that would be cool, because at some point you need to do something else. And you always heard what was it, Maz Kanata or something, like, the Empire, the First Order, the Sith, there's many different names for it, but eventually they're all the same. So it would be nice to see something new, personally.
Yeah. One said if he's into Funkos, why doesn't he display his collection in the background so we can see some of it while you chat? So that was that was sarcasm by the way, right? I mean, I think you can see Funkos in all of our screens here, right? We got Funkos on this side. Eric's got Funkos on his background. Yeah,
I have a few.
We might like Funko Pops a little bit.
Just a wee bit.
General Kenobi says hello there. Hey, General.
Hey,
what's up, Jose? Thanks for hopping in the chat. So let's jump into our first article here, because I think it's some pretty juicy news, in my opinion. So Mara Jade, Star Wars is rumored to be developing a Mara Jade TV series, and Zendaya could play the Emperor's hand, or it's possible. So according to a new rumor, Lucasfilm is moving forward with a new series revolving around fan favorite expanded universe character Mara Jade. Zendaya, meanwhile, is also being eyed for a Star Wars role, so it could be that role there, which could be pretty cool. In Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire trilogy, Star Wars fans met Mara Jade and learned that she was once the Emperor's hand undercover in Jabba the Hutt's palace. During the events of Return of the Jedi, she didn't make it onto the sail barge in time and failed to assassinate Luke Skywalker. Palpatine's loyal soldier subsequently blamed him both for Palpatine's defeat and the fact that she lost everything, prompting her to hunt Luke down years later. So eventually, she and Luke marry and have children in expanded universe, as we know. We could, however, still see Mara introduced as a compelling new female protagonist who is front and center in the next era of storytelling. For many fans, the hope is that Dave Filoni might introduce her in the upcoming Star Wars movie, also rumored to be titled Heir to the Empire. As was first reported on the sffgazette.com via at My Time to Shine, H brings the word that Lucasfilm is developing a TV series revolving around Mara Jade. While we'd imagine most of her history with Luke would be scrapped, there are still ways to adapt her history as the Emperor's hand, and for all we know, she and Luke did cross paths before his self-imposed exile. So the insider also revealed that Spider-Man No Way Home star Zendaya is also being considered for the Star Wars role. Mara Jade isn't mentioned, though we're sure you'll agree that she'd be a good fit for the character. Ahsoka was reportedly hit for Lucasfilm. Season 2 is already in the works, so another female-led series featuring a badass lightsaber-wielding warrior stands a good chance of being just as successful. So, let me see. So the New Republic versus Undead Witches, it kind of seems likely as well as a possible series as well. So this is a quote, I guess, that was stated in one of the interviews here, that I'm setting up what seems to be a larger conflict with the Imperial Remnant, the conflict that can't mirror what we've seen before, said Dave Filoni. It has to take on a different shape. It can't just be the Empire versus what looks like the Rebellion or even the Republic. So it has to be visually different. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? Eric, do you want to give your thoughts first?
I think it's a great concept. Zendaya is a great actress, and I think that she would fit well as that role. And I like the fact we were talking like a week ago or 2 weeks ago about things that they have brought into the Star Wars universe that was scrapped
from that were scrapped that they did like in Legends and revisiting it now. So
so I think that's another thing. A good example right here if they ever bring in, and I like the fact that they're trying to make it a little bit different than what's already been told before. Say, you know, Dave Filoni talking about here. He says they it's got to be a different shape, a different look to these, to what than the standard Rebels versus Imperial. So I think that's a great concept, and imagine if they were to build a series around this character, just like they did Ahsoka, but on the other end of the spectrum with a dark side female character, rather than Ahsoka. So I think that's a really good concept.
Yeah, I could see it being a good series too, right? And the fact that this rumor has Zendaya possibly being a part, having a role in a future Star Wars series or project, like it's something that they've been doing over the last little while with crossing actors over. Like we've had Oscar Isaac, who played in Star Wars, and then he went on to play in Moon Knight, right? So there's a couple. I think there's a couple crossovers there with actors, so it does make sense. So should be interesting. Patrick, what do you think? Would you be excited to see a Mara Jade series?
I think it would be kind of cool because it could fill in where we see Luke, in The Last Jedi. I think it would really kind of explain that. Like it would be a good plot point because not many things could put Luke where we saw him there, and all the hopeful lovers of the original trilogy, your Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker spoke volumes when we saw him in season 2 Mando finale, right? So I think if we brought that back and somehow you saw her and they brought back a deep fake Luke or something like that, that would be awesome. That'd be like blow the doors off the theater awesome. Like that would be crazy. But what if we're all thinking it's Mara Jade and they bring her in to do something like Asajj Ventress?
I love Asajj Ventress.
that could be good too,
story, and then you could have her cameo in some way, and then she could also do something with maybe Quinlan in the Path or something. Just saying, or a Night Sister that's resurrected or something. Who knows? But like, just kind of reading the end there about like redesigning, it can't just be this and that. And that's what I think I was kind of saying earlier is that like we can't just have the Rebels versus the Imperials versus the New Order, call them Resistance now. There needs to be some other thread or something else. So like, we're kind of coming with undead and more sorcery things as well. I'm for it. So either way, you're bringing a name and an actress like Zendaya into the Star Wars universe. She's phenomenal. Anything she has been given, so she'll do great. Just kind of what kind of role Mara Jade I think would be cool. I think it'd be too easy kill. So either they're gonna. My thought is they'll take parts of the Mara Jade if they're not going full blown, and they're gonna take that and put that in Zendaya's character, or maybe she goes the other route. Like maybe we get a Night Sister of some sort, an Asajj.
Yeah, I don't know if I could see her playing Asajj though. I think there's some other actresses that could play a better Asajj. But yeah, the Mara Jade character, I think they would have to stay true to the character to an extent. Like obviously they can't really make her and Luke have kids at this point because where are they during the sequel trilogy? But
correct.
You could have them be like interacted. You could have them interact. You could even have them be like eventually get married, and then Mara Jade could be the one who died, and because like there was all this speculation that rock formation he was standing in front of on Octo was a headstone, right? So you could kind of fill in that backstory, right? So,
yeah, it would perfectly align. And then
yeah,
just think if they do that, and then when you see it, right, as an original trilogy fan, you get to that point and you get the fans that were hating on it now, like, okay, because to drive someone to that there's some serious loss, right? It wasn't
yeah,
just the Jedi Temple and the student,
Exactly.
like something else
yeah,
happened. So I think that would be a great way to fill that backstory, kind of give some
yeah,
redemption to Mark Hamill and Luke Skywalker, like to give it some. He didn't become some old curmudgeon for nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Give that. I think that would be great for all the fandom. That would be perfect.
yeah,
There's got to be a reason for him falling so far from where he was. So
yeah.
that'd be a good. That was be good if they were to do something like that.
Yeah. General Kenobi said, "Got to reread those books. Seems like they're becoming more and more relevant." Yeah, I mean they've taken stuff from the books and brought stuff into canon already too.
Yeah.
So, did you all enjoy her? Did you all like her in Dune? I haven't seen Dune. Did you guys see Dune?
I watched
Yeah,
1 and 2.
loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah. How was she in it? She was good.
She was good. She was good.
Mhm.
But I think Skarsgård in that second one, whew, he was awesome. Awesome.
Kay says hi. Hey Kay, thanks for joining us this evening. She said, I know George Lucas didn't want Mara Jade brought into canon. Wouldn't Filoni want to follow that lead or no? I mean, I guess it's possible he might honor George's wishes there, because I mean he is George's apprentice. So, but we'll see. We'll have to wait and see, right? Mara is a fan favorite character too, so it could be a smart move to, be like, hey, this isn't George's thing anymore. Let's bring her in and please the fans, right?
Filoni might have a pretty good relationship with Zahn after now having worked on Rebels and Ahsoka with him. So why couldn't he get some inspiration, some ideas, and bounce some things back? Like, hey, maybe it's Mara, but not the full Mara you have envisioned, but we're going to do a take on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah. Ben Solo could have been unveiled. Could have unveiled his kids at the temple, but it wouldn't make sense for him to have kids, at least what we've seen from Luke in the Mandoverse. He didn't want Grogu to have attachments. Yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, at that point, that's true. He didn't believe in having attachments and stuff. So, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But I'm all for Zendaya having some role in Star Wars. She's a great actor, so.
Yeah, so if not a Mara Jade character,
yeah,
what else?
Something else
we could put her in. Yeah,
yeah. I was saying, like any Night Sister. If we're getting something with Thrawn, and those things they are putting aboard the Star Destroyer were caskets from the crypt, and there happen to be Night Sisters, and they're going to resurrect them on Dathomir. Oh my goodness! Like she could be a whole new character, bringing a whole new set of rage. Like maybe she's Mother Talzin resurrected. Who knows? Yeah. That would be sick, though. That would be sick.
Yeah, or maybe another Sith Lord like Darth Talon. Yeah. Right. So
Filoni knows that story very well. Having spoke to Lucas and pitched that. So that who knows where they can go. But I'm excited just that there's news like this, like they're talking to people.
Yeah. Either way, I think new Star Wars content coming out, like the fact that we're hearing that they're developing stuff, like there's stuff in development that we don't even know about yet. So it is exciting.
I think the success of Skeleton Crew having a self-contained story in the Star Wars universe, that's a great thing that they can now take that and expand it in different ways, where you can now do the characters going into different things, as they get older and grow. They don't all have to always be together. We'll maybe, see a few of them together in something else. And I also think on the other flip side of that, we'll be able to explore that pirate universe a little bit more. That would be cool to see too. Now that we got that, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
that'd be worth revisiting. Yeah, I mean, Port Borgo was an amazing place. I like to see that again in the big screen.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Do you want to jump to my first story for this evening, Chris?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. Okay. So everybody's favorite mod. So Sophie Thatcher would return to Star Wars in a heartbeat. So multiple Disney Plus series focus on the years after the original trilogy and the New Republic era. Amongst them, the Book of Boba Fett gained a mixed reputation. One of the guest stars and riskiest addition is totally down to return. Sophie Thatcher appeared in the Book of Boba Fett season 3 as season 3. Anyways,
I think that's not right.
That's not right. There's no season 3, season 2. So, as Drash, but the leader of the cyborg biker gang on Tatooine. It was a controversial role, even though Drash and her gang of mods brought back old George Lucas concepts. The addition was polarizing for fans and sparked quite a bit of debate. But 3 years later, Thatcher and the Manaverse are now both hugely popular with audiences. She's excited at the idea of bringing Drash back into the future, especially as Dave Filoni is planning more crossover events. She says she'd love that and tells Inverse in a roundtable interview, the Star Wars universe is so vast, dense, and so interesting. And Jon Favreau made it feel very political and very timely. It's such a cool universe. And so she continues on and saying that she was also on a 2018 Prospect, the vastly underrated sci-fi indie film, alongside with Pedro Pascal. So that's a possibility of them bringing them together, in a crossover film, if they were doing Manaverse back again with the with Book of Boba Fett. Says, I haven't seen Pedro Pascal since we worked together in Prospect. She says, in this year since Book of Boba Fett, Thatcher has made a name for herself as a horror maven and enigmatic leading lady. But in Star Wars universe, no one's really gone, not even goth cyborg biker teens. But I think if they were to go into this direction and bring in these characters back, I think they need to kill off a couple of those characters, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
they need a new redesign. They need a new reboot of the look.
They need to have the bikes not look all bright and skittly and
like it's been through a war.
They need to look rough, like beat up, like That's
not like if they can go give it a car wash. There's hardly any water over there in Tatooine.
Yeah,
so,
like Kay said, didn't like the Skittle gang, but Sophie was definitely the best of that squad. Yeah, she was the best of the squad for sure. So if they are bringing anyone back, I'd like to see her character, but maybe more of a I don't know. I guess like more of an enforcer role, maybe like doing more,
maybe like Kate, like
more missions for
from Outlaws, almost like someone that could just do missions.
Someone doing missions for Boba, right? Or something.
So her character will be older, so hopefully they make her more mature and ditch those other guys. So but I think
kill them off, like Eric said.
Kill them off. At least kill off a couple of them. But I think it would work if they were to get a totally new redesign and maybe new vehicles or something, because that just really didn't fit, in my opinion. I think a lot of people is pretty much saying the same thing.
I mean, you got to think that if Mando and Boba and all of them are going up against Thrawn, like Ahsoka, if she gets back to the main galaxy, if they're all going against Thrawn in the big Mandoverse, Infinity War movie, like they need more help than that, right? Like they're gonna need
cannon fodder.
Luke Skywalker. They're gonna need more people, right? So so I'm okay with them bringing her back.
The concept was good. It's just the way really how it was fleshed out and how the characters look,
Yeah.
it just seemed off.
Yeah,
But
it
if
did
Yeah.
seem a little
a
off.
good redesign, I think they could bring her back,
If you
and
look
maybe
at the rest
feel
of the town, or even the land speeder that the major domo guy tried to take off out of, like it was
Mhm.
all lived in looking, and then you came out with these like blue, primary colored, brightly colored
bubblegum
new. It's
vehicles.
just it
Yeah.
jumped the shark. It just did not. It did not fit with the world that we all know. Like everyone that saw it was like, what? It's bright light to a gremlin. Like it just did not fit. And if they retooled that to look like the ones that the Mando or even the kids in the Skeleton Crew, like anything that looked a little more lived in would have been fine. Like I think they would have gotten less flack for the characters, themselves. That's my gripe with them. If they kind of looked more in universe, it wouldn't have been so odd.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about possibly going back to Hoth? Because that's the next rumor that we're talking about here. Possibly going back to Hoth.
Yes, please.
Right? So if this popular theory is right, then the next Star Wars movie will break a 46-year-old record. So there's an impressively long-running Star Wars record that the franchise's next movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu, could very well be breaking. One that goes all the way back to Empire Strikes Back. So over the years, many aspects of The Empire Strikes Back have been replicated in Star Wars, from its finer details to the entire structure of its hopeful cliffhanger ending. There is, however, one stark element of The Empire Strikes Back that has yet to be repeated in the Star Wars franchise. So now, after 46 years since the original release of Empire Strikes Back, this popular theory about the Mandalorian and Grogu suggests that the next Star Wars movie will bring this element back, making it the first to break the long-running franchise record. So Hoth has yet to be revisited after The Empire Strikes Back. So this planet hasn't been seen on screen ever since its debut. So surprisingly, the planet Hoth has never been revisited on screen after The Empire Strikes Back, not even in animation. So this makes it one of two planets in The Empire Strikes Back that has never been seen again, with Bespin being the second, given how often Tatooine has been seen in both animation and live action, and other planets too that have been seen multiple times in different Star Wars projects. So Hoth is one of the only ones that hasn't been revisited from the original trilogy. But the Mandalorian movie footage hints that at a Hoth's Star Wars return. So could the snow planet that was shown in the D23 footage last year, I think it was, could that be Hoth? Because like there were AT-ATs that made their debut on the snowy planet, of Hoth. So it makes it reasonable for those same fans to now assume that Hoth is the location in the sequence that they showed at D23. The big screen would be the only suitable place for Hoth to make its return, especially if there are AT-ATs in the mix, because that would just give that whole Empire Strikes Back feel again. And then Hoth would also be the perfect place for an Imperial remnant to hide as well. So, what do you guys think? Do you think that planet is Hoth, or do you think it's just another snowy planet? I'm kind of hoping for Hoth myself.
Yeah, I'm hoping so too. I mean, it would be kind of interesting. Why would he have to go to Hoth?
Yeah,
but I think it'd be pretty cool if they were to revisit it. Maybe the rebel base on Hoth, and then maybe they forgot something. Maybe he needed to get something from there, and that's probably the reason why. I mean, who knows? It's just an idea, but I think it's cool. We were to get Hoth back again, and that'd be awesome to see back on big screen after 46 years.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
Like the article said, it's a good place for an Imperial remnant to be hiding out, right? So
it'd be neat to see, the old remnants of the Battle of the Hoth. So you'll see walkers and snow speeders down. Probably where the generators for the force field was, where they destroyed that. Like, it'd be kind of cool to see some callbacks.
Yeah. Kay said about the biker gang, it was cringe. Like some have said, they would have worked somewhere like Coruscant, but not on Tatooine. Yeah, Coruscant would have been better for those speeder bikes for sure. Could be Hoth, but could be any number of snow planets. Yeah, but
yeah. What was that
Hoth would
planet
be cool.
on the Mandalorian? That snowy planet.
Yeah.
With we thought it might have been Ilum, but it wasn't.
Yeah, Ilum. Yeah.
That's right. That would be cool if it was Ilum.
Yeah, I mean, Ilum would fit in with the timeline too, right?
Trying to find Kyber still, could be Ilum.
Yeah. But Hoth could be cool too, right? So, we need Hoth, but let's enjoy it not just for a quick cameo. Yeah, I agree. Ilum could make sense. Yeah. So, because Ilum, they at this point in time, they're probably working on building Starkiller base there, right? Or at least like the starts of it, right?
Yep.
Maybe the breaking the ground, the first first ground,
first Kyber.
Yeah, right. So, but since it turns into Starkiller base, yeah, right. So Ilum could make sense. Hoth would be cool though as well. Yeah.
Could be. Well, there's a little tie-in with Professor Huyang. Searching for Kyber or next for the kids or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know how Hoth would tie into Mando and Grogu going there, right? Because that's what they saw in the clip from D23 was Mando and Grogu on a ATRT, the smaller version of the ATST. So, yeah.
And we got that on Clone Wars. So that'd be Now, say it makes sense if they were to tie it in Hoth, with the Imperial being there. Maybe some. Let me think. Is this afterwards, after Imperial fall? So that would be that maybe that they have some equipment that were left over or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
just because those are the remnants, right? It was so cold and desolate. It was a great hiding spot for them, and they've abandoned it. Why don't we just go there? It could have been just a simple decision like that. Like, no one wanted to be there. It was just the fact that it's so cold, desolate. No one would think to go there.
Yeah,
it could be just simple.
Why would the New Republic go looking there when it was like an abandoned rebel base, right? So
that would all make sense. It would all make sense.
Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows what they'll bring?
Who knows?
Exciting just to be talking about this stuff, because I think when there's those dry spells in between things, you're kind of like, oh, now what do you talk about? Skeleton Crew's over. Now what?
Yeah. No, it's definitely exciting to get this kind of news and stuff on actors and upcoming shows, especially the Mandalorian and Grogu, which is the next theatrical release. So,
hey, it will be cool if we get a one-armed
Wampa, right?
just walking around in the background.
It's still alive. Yeah,
that'd be funny.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
All right, so Star Wars Celebration Japan unveiled its final wave of badge art. So on Thursday, Lucasfilm revealed the third and final wave of artwork that will be featured on different badges. So these 7 new artworks join the beautiful roster that had been already revealed. The artist Takumi reimagined Star Wars characters in the traditional Ukiyo style, which this last wave features Obi-Wan versus Anakin, Rey versus Kylo, Cassian Andor, Leia Mon Mothma, Kai Brightstar, and Nubs and Osha. It said we have a list of confirmed guests that will also be signing autographs and taking photos with fans, including Rosario Dawson, Diego Luna, and so forth. So we'll leave a link down below if you guys want to check and see who's the roster of the guests, who'll be there for signing. Besides the names on that existing list, they'll be dropping some new lists between now and April. So we'll probably have a Lucasfilm studio panel on Friday morning at Star Wars Celebration, showing off Andor Season 2, talk about Ahsoka and see what's possible we can expect from Ahsoka Season 2, and most importantly, discuss the Mandalorian and Grogu movie and possibly get some footage from the movie. So the schedule should be released a month before Star Wars Celebration in April 18th, which will be April 18th through the 20th at the Makuhari Messi Center in Chiba, Japan. Well, those are amazing artwork right there, man.
Yeah, I do.
You had a poster.
I actually do like the I like this one and the Kylo Ren versus Rey one the best, I think. But all of them are beautiful.
Yeah.
Like there's the Andor one.
That was pretty cool.
Leia, yeah. I like how they tried to include
the Leia one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one.
They tried to include something from as much of their content as possible, right? Like even the Acolyte, even though the Acolyte wasn't super popular with a lot of fans. Mon Mothma.
Yeah,
I like that one. Yeah, it would be cool if you can get them as posters or stickers. I think they have them as pins, though, right? I think the pins are available with some of these in some of these styles. Here's the older ones. The first set, I guess.
Look at that.
Right?
Massage.
Right? Vader.
Wow.
The Vader looks a lot like that samurai helmet you were showing us there, Patrick, before we came on. So, Luke, yeah, Ahsoka. So, they do look very cool.
They're so good. Amidala's.
All of those detail work.
Yeah.
I'd like to get some of that artwork on a t-shirt. That would be crazy.
Yeah. T-shirt or an art print would be cool.
Either.
Yeah. But yeah, let's jump into a little fun chat here, because Eric and I we mentioned rumors about Henry Cavill possibly playing more of a villainous role in the upcoming Star Wars. Was it the Rey trilogy that he was being eyed for? So our question, what we wanted to kind of talk about, is what makes a good Star Wars villain. Because if you look at all at least the main films, the villains have all been Sith or dark side users of some sort, right? Like Palpatine, Maul, Vader, Kylo Ren, Snoke. They're all Force users. They're all some like dark side Force users. So you would have to think, if you got like a Jedi as powerful as Rey, you need somebody to be equally or more powerful to be the bad guy in the new trilogy, the new era of Star Wars. So you would have to think it's got to be like a dark side Force user of some sort, or so, if it's not a dark side Force user, it has to be someone similar to Thrawn, who has that intellect, that intelligence, that above average, intelligence, right? So, what do you guys think? Like, what could be the next villain? What would make a good villain for the next 3-4 movies?
So we're talking about like the fall of the Empire. So this is like remnant style. So it could be that his character could be like maybe ex-military or a captain or something like that. And we were talking about this maybe about 3 or 4 weeks ago or something like that. So I think he has that demeanor about him as being like a military type of character. But I would love to see him as maybe a Sith or a dark side user at the same time. But he's got that presence, so they should use him to his full max of what what that character what he could bring. And I think either a military character, or Sith would be a great character also. So something along the lines.
Like I said, if it's not a Sith character or a dark side character, it has to be someone with that intelligence like Thrawn, so like a Chiss, someone of the Chiss species, because they live 80 years, 100 years. So it's got to be someone like that.
That'd be cool. Some character that could be like along for the ride, basically. You're saying even.
Yeah,
but that's like, not bad.
I don't know. You need someone who can go up against Rey, like either surpass Rey in combat, like lightsaber combat, or mental capabilities, right?
Yeah.
I think that if you
I don't think like as cool as it would be, as cool as it would be to see him as like an Imperial officer or like a general or something, like he has to be like a Chiss or something, right? Yeah, sneaky politician like Palpatine, maybe. Yeah,
I'd like to see somehow how did this person get to the power, and then were they corrupted by it once they got there and now they're bad, or you know what I mean? Like, I think that's what we're talking. The conversation being what makes a good villain. I think what makes a good villain is someone that you can align with. Like, you don't always see them as a villain, because sometimes the best villain is the one you think is doing the right thing, kind of like Thanos, right? It was a great villain, thought he was doing the right thing, but we could see, if we saw something like that in Star Wars, some kind of new threat where they're trying to do something that is a threat to the galaxy, but in their mind it's maybe saving their race or something like that, and they'll do anything at all costs. I think that could be pretty dramatic too, and give us something new to look forward to.
That's what made Palpatine or Senator, why he was such that same character, where you didn't know what his intention. I mean, you as a character in the Star Wars universe did not know what his intention was. You always thought he was benevolent, a good leader. But we as the audience,
watch him play both sides.
But that's the type of character. Like, if you could write him like this in that style, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, and he could be another fallen hero.
Yeah.
Like, what if what if the hero wasn't kind of like Anakin? Maybe he was even darker, even more, like, didn't have an Obi-Wan to train. Maybe because he doesn't have any structure or values to go by. Maybe he was kind of more like Chimera, where like the good thing about, if you don't follow them, you don't have to worry about them. Like, maybe he starts practicing dark side like that, and because of that, he's so corrupt. Like, he could be the baddest baddie, because Chimera was pretty hardcore. Like, I know that a lot of people didn't like Acolyte, but Chimera was awesome.
Yeah,
like,
he was.
Snapping that and cashing checks, that guy. Like, I would not mind seeing a bad guy like that. Like, I don't need to play him up like they kind of did it, in my opinion, kind of like that Kung Fu, the drunken guy who he could be all silly, making his little cocktails, and poisons, but like he ended up being the baddie, right? I think if we have someone that is just with heartless, like Chimera, like, that has no repercussion, just wants to live his life without anyone telling what he could do or couldn't do, and he's just corrupted and dark, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah. So, aggressively relaxing. Thanks for hopping in the chat. So they said, when you read all the books and the comics, it seems like they're setting up the Grisk as the next big bad, or even, I don't know if you and I talked about it, Eric, but I talked about it with somebody. I can't remember who it was, but the Yuzon Vong.
Yeah.
Another species from right? Like, Henry Cavill doesn't necessarily have to show his face. He could be like a CGI character, right? like another species. He could be using his voice right towards another character, but he could still be playing a very villainous role that way, right? So,
That'd be
yeah,
interesting.
you definitely need like a race that is stronger than like to live up to like to be a real threat for like the Jedi, right? So
Could be like the
I don't think
Nile,
you,
or like
yeah,
coming back from the old Republic. They thought it was long like extinct.
yeah,
Maybe
something like that.
they can.
Yeah. The galaxy you know versus the galaxy next door. That's why the theme park is Galaxy's Edge. Yeah, right. Yeah, Acolyte was awesome. Looking forward to more of the Sith story. Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. But yeah, I feel like it has to be some sort of like Sith or dark side user to combat Rey. Like, because yes, Star Wars is about the hero's journey, finding out who you are and stuff like that. Um, but when you think of Star Wars, you think of lightsabers, two bad guy and good guy going at it with lightsabers, fighting each other, right? So, I feel like it has to be some sort of like Sith Lord, dark side user, and I think there are like some that they could bring into canon that are alive, like post Return of the Jedi. So I
So
don't
you've
know
got temple
what
guards that were
yeah, temple
fallen and
guards, yeah,
became inquisitors, right? So
yeah,
I think as as Star Wars went along, we also realized there was more out there than we realized, right? And that's where
yeah,
we're starting to pull from, because you've got what's his face from Jedi Fallen Order, Cal Kestis, out there
yeah,
still. Um, there's and then what it was the Night Sister that he falls in love with. Like, so you've got these other characters on the fringe out there, and we could hear more stories about things like that too. I think again, we need to start expanding Star Wars because there's only so much of that Skywalker you could tell. And you've got, if you want to get another 30, 40 years out of this franchise and IP, you got to do something big,
yeah,
that explodes it forward. And you still could keep a lot of that Skywalker saga feel to it because you can have Remnant Imperial working alongside with Remnant, Resistance, because there's some other threat that's much bigger,
yeah,
much darker, much badder, and who knows, maybe we'll get introduced to that through the Mando thing. Maybe it'll start to set up the pieces for it. I don't know. But I'm excited for that we're going to get something like that. But I also think, at some point we're going to have to also age Grogu up a little bit.
yeah.
Like have him a
And
little
that's
bit
what we were
older.
talking about last week too. I think that could we see Grogu
Speak
speak?
possibly, right? I think we're
Yeah,
going to have to see that soon.
you
I
have
mean, come on.
you have to, right? You have to age him up a little bit and have him say something, right? And start saying some words. Like he can't stay an
Exactly.
infant forever.
Because you want the generation growing up with Grogu, and what's great about this character, right? It's going to be like a Yoda. You're going to have 900 years of him, right? You can really stretch this character for a long time. So,
like you can have
I
Grogu
get it, but let's
in a
start
lot, like
talking.
a lot. Yeah, Grogu's going to be alive. Well, he could potentially be alive long after Rey's gone too, right? So
Yeah, he will.
like,
Yeah,
Grogu's the next. Yeah, he's going to be like the next. It's going to be like the Grogu era after the Rey trilogy. It's going to be like the Grogu trilogy, right? When he's older, he's training. Yeah,
well, it's interesting because
right?
we're getting more and more. So something I noticed last night is I started rewatching some of the old Clone War episodes, right? And
Yeah,
it was something interesting when they were talking, and like when they catch Maul and they have him encased in things. She's like, "Oh, I thought you that was the last." She's like, "Oh, that's just the last one of those things that they would encase Jedi in case we needed it." That was the last one. So the Jedi and the Mandalore were like really at odds for years, right? Years. But now over the Filoni verse, if I don't know if you realize this, but we got more and more of the Jedi come together because you have Mando and Ahsoka. You had Mando and Bo-Katan coming together early on in the Clone Wars, right? And you're getting now Sabine and Ahsoka. Like there's more and more marriage of this culture that it could get interesting. Like I'd like to see almost like it hybrids to something like that, like some of the Mandalore faction become like Jedi. You know, I think it's going that way.
You know what was interesting when you were talking about, Patrick, about the Mandoverse being the main timeline of where we're going. But what is I think is really interesting is the fact that on top of that, we have this unvisited, or we haven't even been to this new galaxy. We've been to one planet in this new galaxy, but what can come out from this new galaxy that would build upon what we already know? New species, new characters, new different things that we don't even know what they're writing just yet. So I think it's really fascinating that we got this new rush of maybe some new different ideas that don't have to come from stuff that they scrapped a long time ago, but some fresh stuff for this Star Wars. So who's to know what we're gonna get?
It'll be just nice to see something fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. JT Lovecraft said, look at these guys, just recorded a podcast with Will and Andrea. It's a Fulcrum kind of night. There we go.
Nice.
Matthew Owen asked, are they doing a Boba Fett movie again? Well, no, just Book of Boba Fett characters possibly returning to Star Wars. So Sophie Thatcher, to be more specific. Hopefully as more than just a mod, right?
Yeah, man. I'm like I said, a good redesign. I think the characters would be all right.
Yeah. A villain needs a lisp or a physical impediment that has been damaged by a haphazard techno medical treatment.
Nice.
Eric, Pat, and Chris, thoughts on Boss Nass returning as a Bombad Sith? I mean, hey, Darth Jar Jar's a thing now too, right? So anything's possible, right? Maybe they'll do that Baby Fett's like Muppet Babies, right?
Mm-hmm.
It could
be a new children's series, children's Star Wars series.
Here's the thing: they're bringing the actor from The Bear, right, to play Jabba's son, right?
Yeah,
to play
Stinky.
So there's something going to be involved with that. So there's going to be something underworld because the Imperials aren't going to give a crap about him. So they got to do something. There's got to be some reason to bring him into the mix because how does he mix up with Thrawn? How does he do? I don't know. I think we're going to have Boba somehow introduced with that.
Yeah. But you see, like, Mando could go up against a villain, say, like a Hutt or something, and it would be like an equal. It would be a pretty big threat for Mando, right? Like, but like for someone like Rey, you need somebody who's at least her equal, and you got to think that would have to be a Force user of some sort, right?
Yeah,
you're right about that, Chris.
Right. But maybe it's somebody that we haven't met yet, or maybe we see.
Yeah, it could be. It could possibly be. Like,
what if Balin gets possessed by something and he becomes a new big baddie? You know, with the was it Abeloth or something like that? Possessed? Who, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's so many pieces to that story that we don't know yet that could pepper itself throughout the other parts of the universe that they're going to story tell. That's what I'm excited. Like, I'd like to have some connective tissue to it, and I'd like to be able to build. We know that we're going to have to eventually build back up to the sequel trilogy, whether people like it or not. But at least if you can do some really awesome stories in there to get fill those gaps and tell some really cool things, introduce some new things. Maybe Mando does that in a way that we're not really thinking it. Like, they can still have things happening on the side because the galaxy's so enthralled with this. That's how they missed the New Order coming back. You know what I mean? Like, it could be something like that. I would think it has to be something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm personally hoping it's Thrawn raising Night Sisters, and we get like some crazy Force magic, like with the witches with the K, you know how they spell it. And they're doing something, and we got like those crossbows, like laser crossbows. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. I'd be totally down for that.
Yeah, I would too. But I think that'll do it for this week's episode. of Rebel Rewind. Patrick, do you want to let people know one more time where they can find you if they want to
Yeah, you
watch
can find
some
me
of your content?
Yeah, you can find me over at Poptography, and Poptography YT on all the social media channels. I do Star Wars Funko Pop images as well as reviews and toy hunts, and you'll see I've had some pretty good luck recently on some hunts, so look for those coming out. But thanks for having me, guys. It's been fun.
Well, thanks for coming on and chatting some Star Wars rumors and news for a change instead of
Always good
your
to
usual
chat.
your usual neck of your usual niche, I guess, your usual area of expertise, which is Star Wars Funko Pops and photography. So exactly right. So yeah, thank you for coming on. Thanks everyone in the chat for joining us this evening, and we'll see everyone in the next episode.